All right, let's dive into a theory that is so wild, so profound. It kind of rewrites everything we think we know about the past, and even our own future. It all comes from this really interesting text called The Ninth Insight. And you know what? It claims it knows exactly what happened to the lost civilization of the Maya.
So let's start with the mystery itself, because it's a big one. For centuries, you've got historians, archaeologists, just about everyone, haunted by the same question. How could a civilization as advanced as the Mayans, I mean, we're talking incredible cities, mind-bendingly accurate astronomy, how could they just vanish? Well, the source text we're digging into today gives an answer that just completely defies any normal explanation. We're not talking about war or famine or disease. Nope. It suggests something unbelievable. The Mayans didn't vanish. They evolved. They literally evolved right out of our physical world.
So you have to ask, where does an idea that radical even come from? Well, it's all laid out in this mysterious document known as the Peruvian manuscript, and specifically in its final, most important part, what it calls the Ninth Insight. And this is really the key to why this whole thing matters so much. The manuscript claims this isn't just about solving some ancient riddle. It says that understanding what happened to the Mayans is absolutely crucial because it reveals the evolutionary path that, supposedly, all of humanity is meant to follow. So, what is this incredible secret? At its core, the Ninth Insight talks about a massive shift in the very nature of human evolution. Let's break down exactly what that means. Okay, so the manuscript basically splits all of human history into two big phases. For thousands of years, we've been stuck in what it calls unconscious evolution. A struggle for survival, defined by conflict, where we get our energy by dominating other people. But the Ninth Insight says we are now, right now, entering a new era of conscious evolution, where the whole game shifts from conquering the world outside to cultivating our own energy on the inside. Think about that for a moment. This text is suggesting that our entire history, from, primitive caveman conflicts all the way up to our complex modern debates, it's all been one long, slow warm-up. It's all been leading to this moment where we as a species are finally ready to consciously grab the steering wheel of our own evolution. But what does it actually mean to evolve consciously? And what is this energy the text keeps talking about? This is where we get into the real mechanics of this proposed transformation. So, the central idea is something the text calls vibration. It argues that as we build up our internal energy, the actual atoms that make up our bodies start to vibrate at a higher and higher frequency. And it's not talking about this as a metaphor. It's describing a literal physical process that makes a person lighter and more spiritually connected. According to this insight, this becomes the whole point of being human. The new goal is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Our destiny is to continue to increase our energy level. That single drive is what powers this whole new conscious evolution. So, what happens if we actually do it? If we keep raising our personal vibration, where does that road lead? Well, the answer brings us full circle, right back to the mystery of the Mayans. The text lays out a really clear step-by-step process. First, you raise your energy. That in turn makes your atoms vibrate faster. As you become more spiritual and light, you eventually hit this tipping point where you literally become invisible to people who are still vibrating at a lower, denser frequency. And that moment, that's what it calls crossing over. And there it is. That's the manuscript's extraordinary answer to our big question. The Mayans didn't die. They didn't flee. According to the Ninth Insight, an entire civilization, together, raised their vibration so high that they just blinked out of our physical world. They basically vibrated their way into another dimension of reality. The text itself describes this moment so perfectly. For anyone left behind, yeah, it would look like a mass disappearance. But for the group that ascended, they'd feel like they were still right here, just lighter, existing on a totally different plane. They just changed their state of being. This whole crossing over thing isn't an end, though. It's a destination. And to really illustrate what this final state of being is like, the manuscript points to one of the most famous figures in all of human history. The source actually points to Christ as the ultimate example of this whole process. It interprets his miracles, like walking on water, as a demonstration of becoming so light with energy that the normal laws of physics started to bend for him. And in this view, his ascension wasn't some one-off, unique event.
It was him showing the evolutionary path that's available to everyone.
So what does this all mean for us, right now? I mean, beyond the cool mystery of the Mayans, what's the real takeaway from a theory like this? The ninth insight isn't really about the past. It's about changing how we see our own reality today.
The final message is, well, it's pretty powerful. This theory suggests we shouldn't be waiting for some heaven in the afterlife. Heaven isn't another place, it's another frequency. It's a reality that's already here, all around us, just waiting for us to evolve our perception enough to actually see it.
And the text connects this huge evolutionary idea to something surprisingly simple, just appreciating beauty. It says, the more beauty we consciously notice in the world, the more we evolve. So I guess that leaves us with a final thought to take away. If this is the key, then the real question for all of us is, what beauty can you see today?